All right, if you're familiar with my classes, then you're familiar with one of my favorite poses for grounding. We use that word grounding a lot. Ground down, bring your energy downward. Today and in most of my classes, we'll use this block. Just placing it between the thighs, letting your feet be block width apart. Bring your hands to your pelvis. Feel how the pelvis is in a nice neutral position. Lift your shoulders to your ears and soften them back down again. All right, you can play around with the soles of your feet, allowing them to feel like they're spreading and softening into the floor as well. When we sink down into this miniature chair pose, we're really gonna let the soles of our feet and the inner thigh, so connect the inner thigh into the block. When we bend, the bend is happening where the ankle happens, where the knee is happening, and then where this thigh bone goes into the hip socket. Your pelvis stays neutral, all right? Yeah, because when you have a neutral pelvis, then the spine just grows really tall out of your hips. So you're not tipping the tailbone back, you're not leaning forward, you're not tucking the tailbone under and kind of sinking back too much. That tailbone feels like someone's hooked an anchor on it and it's just dropping right to the floor. Check your low back. Sometimes it feels like there's a shelf at this low back, and sitting on the shelf is a whole bunch of tightness and tension. Find the soles of your feet, squeeze gently onto the inner thigh, and imagine that someone could just knock this shelf down. When that shelf knocks down, often you'll feel an actual movement of effort, movement of work go down into the legs. That's perfect. It's exactly where we want it. We want these legs to feel nice and juicy. Nice. Legs getting strong, you can feel it happening. If at any time you need a bit of a break, you're just gonna press through the soles of the feet, let the legs come to a nice long straight position. Take a breath, take a break, and sink back down when you're ready, all right? Good. So with that shelf gone now from the low back, you're not using the low back to help support your position here. You're asking the legs to hold you up, and that's what you need, to ask those legs to hold you up. Anytime it feels fatiguing, feel the soles of the feet, find your connection to the inner thigh again, and breathe into it. Breathe into it. Good. Tension feels like it's coming into the chest and shoulders. Just shrug your shoulders up to your ears and drop them down your back. Breathe there. Nice. Now, if you want to add arms, if you want to make this harder, find the bottom rib, find the top of your hip, and just notice how congruent that relationship is, how the rib cage sits on top of the bowl of the pelvis. With your arms hanging heavy, start to notice how far the arms can float up in front of you before this happens, right? Before it's not actually the arms, it's not this angle getting bigger. It's you changing the relationship of your rib cage over your hips, right? So we don't want you to find a back arch. We don't want you to flare rib cage forward. We want you to take a little break. We want you to only lift arms as high as a lift where the shoulders stay soft and relaxed away from the ears, and where the rib cage stays relaxed and the low back stays long, okay? Hands release down below you, start to float these arms up. It may feel like you're practicing chair easier than you have in the past, but if you take away all your compensation patterns, I promise you this will be hard work. Breathe deep. Enjoy. Chair pose is a pose I will use daily, especially times when my head feels like it's really spinning. So one thing you can think about when your brain feels like it's really busy and there's lots of activity happening up here, change the concentration of effort in your body. Bring it downwards. Bring all this busyness into a really tactile, juicy feeling of your legs. And I promise you, when you come out of that pose, not only will your legs feel strong, stable, and able to hold you up, but it's like your brain has settled as well. So when you lift up out of that pose, drop your gaze to the floor or close your eyes. Notice if you need a little knee bend. Breathe. And just take a moment to notice the effects of chair pose. The foundation that you've built in your legs and the busyness in your brain that you've replaced with just a sense of calm and rest. It's that